Now what is the cause of action? You all must be knowing cause of action. That is right to file the suit. From where do you get the right to file the suit? Sir, is it 15 minutes more? This cause of action, because what is your cause of action? Right to file the suit. Now, he says, sir, we have been worshipping that place from the time immemorial, and there was a construction had happened, a temple had been constructed by Vikramaditya. The plain says, Vikramaditya. In 1528, Babur came and he destroyed the temple and he constructed the mosque. However, though it is constructed a mosque, Hindus started believing that as a Janmasthan, and we have been worshipping there. So therefore, it is to declare the property as a Janmasthan. This is prayer number 1. To declare the Suit property as a Janmasthan. And we are proposing to construct a temple. So there shall be an injunction in favor of me to not to obstruct any construction of the temple. So this suit is filed. Then all written statement, everything, it went on. In 1992, we all know that structure had been demolished. When December 6th, 1992, when the structure had been demolished, the suit property goes. But the situation turns, the government, central government, acquired the suit property. Along with the acquisition, they acquired 67 acres around the suit property. And the acquisition has been challenged in the Supreme Court, in the High Court. A separate act was passed by the central government, that is Ayodhya Act 1992. 93, sorry. Act is passed, taking away the first acquiring the 67 acres and abatement of entire suit, abating the entire suit, and simultaneously they preferred a question to the Supreme Court through President of India to find out whether there was a temple existed before construction of the mosque. That was the question referred to the Supreme Court. All the case came to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says that the Supreme Court gave two findings. Number one, we are not going to answer your question because it requires a lot of evidence. So Supreme Court refrained from answering the question. Number one. Number two, Supreme Court says that accusation is valid. However, you have abated the suit, so that is bad. Only the court has to determine the fact. So therefore, the abatement is set aside. So they remanded the case to the, once again to the High Court. The High Court, in the High Court, there was, then they have started leading the evidence. You see, when they lead the evidence, first thing, what is the evidence to be led by the Hindus? Hindu says that we believed. This is the birthplace of Ram. And we believed the reason for believing is Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these things. There were 4 historians who are all witnesses of the Muslim side, have written a book in 91 itself, doubting the claim of Hindus that there were no such thing, that the temple had existed earlier to 1528 and the temple had been destroyed by Babur. And that book had been filed as a document by the Muslims in the court. So cleverly, the Hindu side lawyer took that exhibit and shown to the court this exhibit is filed by the Muslims. In that, they have seriously doubted the entire claim of the Hindus that there was a temple before the construction of the mosque. So therefore, this has to be examined by doing excavation. Then the court also found fit to order for excavation. In Indian legal history, it is the only case where archaeological report is considered to be an expert opinion. It is the first time. Because we all know what is expert opinion. Whether an archaeology is a science or it's an art or it's a mere guesswork, all these things have been examined by the court. Then the archaeology excavation has commenced. And during the excavation, they have started finding the materials were there. You see, we cannot, by getting one object, we cannot come to a conclusion. We have to get so many objects. And the archaeology is also one of the highly interesting field. I would request all my friends to read archaeology also. It is as interesting as history. So, the archaeological department started excavating the materials, and they have submitted a report that there seems to be a massive religious structure beneath the building. Then the Muslims started, earlier Muslims were saying, their claim was, the mosque was constructed on the barren land. Then after the excavation reports started coming out, they have taken a different stand. There was a Eidgah mosque. The Eidgah mosque would be, the mosque would have only not a structure but a wall, very long wall. So earlier there would have been an Eidgah mosque. They have changed the stand. But the court rejected. That's a different matter. Then the court started inquiring into all the facts, all the law. The issues were framed. The issues are number one. Primarily, whether there was a temple is there or not. Whether the finding of the archaeological report is valid report or not. This is one. Apart from this, they have asked whether there is a belief of the Hindus there was a Ram was born there or not. You see, there are two things. We need not to prove the faith, because faith can't be proved. Only we need to prove the existence of faith. So, whether there was an existence of faith that Ram was born there for time immemorial. This was the first question. And this question is answered by the court, yes, there was a consistent belief on behalf of Hindus that Ram was born there. And all the questions were answered in favor of Hindus. Then the archaeological experts, archaeological report, whether this report is a scientific report, all this had been gone into, and they said that yes, archaeological report is a scientific report, and this report can be looked into by the court in deciding the issues. And the court held that. Another very important thing, I will wrap up in 5 minutes. You see, the lawyers found strategy. Strategy is very, very vital, important thing when we conduct the case. So, there were several Hindu parties. One of the party has taken a stand that there is all the parties saying that the structure was destroyed by Babur in 1528. But the structure was not destroyed by Babur, but it was destroyed by Aurangzeb. That was his argument. He led evidence, and the High Court accepted, yes, the structure was not destroyed by Babur, it was destroyed by only Aurangzeb. The consequence is You see, when the Muslims filed the suit that it is the public mosque, what are all the ingredients the Muslims have to prove? Number one, they have to prove that the structure is a mosque, and if it is a mosque, it will come within the waqf, because there can be no mosque without waqf. So, if it is a waqf, somebody has to dedicate this. Who has dedicated it? According to the Muslims, it is Babar who constructed the mosque. If it is a Babar has dedicated, where is the, then in 1934, we have regulated the Waqf Act. Then every Waqf has to be notified in the Gazette. The Muslims produced the document in 1934. There was a notification, and in the notification, they have declared this property as a Waqf property. That notification is produced before the court. But in the notification, we can able to identify that the property is not mentioned in the column back, what is meant for property. So therefore, the notification became invalid. Then the Muslims have taken a stand. It is when we say that it is dedicated by Babar is disproved because it was constructed by Aurangzeb. When the notification is invalid because the property is not mentioned, and the column who has dedicated Babar is mentioned, then they have taken a stand, it is a lost grant. Lost grant means we do not know who has dedicated, because we do not know who constructed particular mosque. Is it necessary to identify who has constructed? Need not be. That's called a lost grant. Then they have taken a stand, it is a lost grant. Then the court says, no, you have to specifically plead and lead the evidence who has to dedicate it. That also they have rejected it. So, when they have completely, when their suit is rejected, the public, it is not, so it will not become a mosque. And very, very interestingly, I told you at the very beginning, there was a commissioner was appointed in 1950, the local commissioner. His report is produced and read out to the court. In that report, he described the entire structure of the building is, though it is called as a mosque, but all consist of Hindu gods and goddesses. And that had been proved by the Hindus. And the Hindus have taken a stand that these types of structures, the Muslims are not permitted to perform namaz because that is against their Islamic jurisprudence, because that namaz is not accepted by God. So therefore that structure itself cannot be called as a mosque. And the court says that yes, though it cannot be called as a mosque in accordance with Islamic tenets, but Muslims believed this as a mosque, so therefore we can call it as a mosque, but it is not a mosque. This was the finding given by the court. Then all this case came to Supreme Court. I tell you, I tell you the important factors of the High Court. High Court, the finding is, you all know what is the law of limitation. When the suit is barred by limitation, they will dismiss the suit. So the first suit is by the deity, by the devotee, that suit is decreed, it is within time. The second suit is by the pujari. They say that suit is barred by limitation, they have dismissed the suit. And the Muslim suit is in 1961, that is also barred by limitation, they have dismissed the suit. But however, the High Court, what they have done interestingly, the suit filed by the Hindus is succeeded, by the deity is succeeded, because you all know that deity is a perpetual minor. So therefore the limitation will not apply. So, because plaintiff number 1 is an idol, plaintiff number 2 is the place, it is also deemed to be a deity, so therefore limitation don't apply. So it is within time, though we filed it in 1989, though the Muslims filed it in 1961, their suit is dismissed in limitation because mosque is not a legal entity, mosque is not a juristic personality. So therefore their suit is dismissed. But however, they have divided the property into 3 parts and they have handed over all 3 people. So it went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court upheld everything in the all finding of law, everything. and they have degreed, they have said only thing what they reversed is the Muslim suit is within time, and they have given 5 acres of land elsewhere within Ayodhya, and they have handed over 67 acres of the land to the Hindus. I am sorry I have not done justice to this case because this lot of complication, lot of legal intricacies, and it can't be completed in 1 hour. And thank you very much for your argument.